Aloha, and this is Daniel Posney, and this is called Shifting Perspectives. Just coming off of a sweat lodge yesterday with some really good friends and new friends. Artie Looking Hawk and Carla were the facilitators of the lodge, and he just has decades of experience with lodge and with pipe ceremony, or otherwise known as chanupa, and actually Sundance too, many times. And it's not some small undertaking. So it's really such an honor to have him as a friend and to have him as a facilitator to continue on with the traditions that he held in this house for over 22 years. So coming off of that, of praying with people and being in that sweat, being in that place of really releasing and letting go, and it's just, sometimes you're in a place of complete gratitude of where you're at and who you get to spend time with, and the songs that were played and the songs that were sung in Sweat Lodge are just so beautiful. Everything just takes on this heightened beauty with it. And I was firekeeper, which I love doing, and firekeeping in the heat of the desert with the fire, and the ground is almost too hot to walk on, and you're stepping on burning embers, you're getting burnt, and then you see the people in the lodge that are going through their experience, and then you join them after you bring in the stones. Just awesome experience. It really reminded me of the experience I had with an ayahuasca ceremony, where I was the bucket guy that would empty out the vomit buckets, the purging buckets, into the mother bucket, which was eventually going to go back into Mother Earth. So, not a glamorous job, but one that I really held with a lot of gratitude. And there's this back and forth gratitude that happens. So that's what was going on yesterday. And so today, well, first of all, let me just remind you of the websites to check out about what we're doing here. The things that I do specifically can be found at ultimatepotentialcoach.com or danielposney.com. The things that we're doing here as a household is at thehummingbirdhouse.org. And we've got lots of things planned for as the weather warms up, for ceremonies and workshops and retreats and cancer support, and lots of great stuff happening. There's a men's retreat happening in October. You can check that out also on my website, and you can go to sedonamensretreats.com. That's also talks about the men's retreats. So that's it. That's my advertising. Today, this morning, we're going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about, the Consciousness Holodeck. And this is something that really has helped me to understand my psyche, my mind, and my tendencies, and why certain things trigger me, or I have certain sensitivities with things when other people don't, and why other people have sensitivities to things, and then I might not have those sensitivities. This concept really helps me to understand that. So for a moment, I want you to kind of pull back from the mind and how things should be or how they shouldn't be, and how some things are good or bad or right or wrong, and pull back into more of a God consciousness, if you will, how an energy or an entity or a consciousness might look at the world energetically solely as an energy. Now think about, if you remember watching Star Trek, and how they go up to this panel on the door, and they punch in a code maybe, and then they all of a sudden, it's this jungle or something, and they can just walk right into that jungle. Maybe it's 50,000 years ago, or somewhere in the future, or anywhere in a specific frequency of time. Now imagine that you go into that holodeck and everything is red. The grass is red, the trees are red, the people are red, the air is red, and it's red because it's in the frequency of red. So now everything that you experience in that particular holodeck is in the frequency of red. And red is all, it's associated with the first chakra. It's associated with trust and safety. Also makes you feel anger or fear, that kind of thing. So everything in that holodeck is going to be kind of flavored with that thing. Now imagine that you punch a different code and you go into the holodeck of blue. And blue is about this, the chakra about the throat and about speaking the truth and knowing what your story is. And all the trees and grass and buildings and cars and everything is blue. People's faces are blue. But it's blue because it's in the frequency of that color or of that energy. So this really helps me to understand, why is it that if I have a sensitivity to authority figures, why did I join the Navy? Why did I join the military, for one thing? Why is it that I will attract people that I have a judgment about? Why do they feel that they need to tell me how to do something when I already know how to do it? Why do they need to tell me it's very like rudimentary things when I'm 60 years old and I've had that life experience? Why do I get stirred up when I have this sensitivity? They should know that I know how to change a flat tire or something like that. But other people don't have that sensitivity. And then I tend to attract these people of, quote, authority. And I go, wow, why am I getting stirred up with this? Why do I attract this? And on the one end, on the egoic end, it's like, why do people do this to me? Why can't they just get it? Why can't they just leave me alone? Why do the people seem to want to control me? All these things about the mind starts to come up. It's like why does this happen to me kind of thing. And that's one path. And I've gone down that path for a long time of, trying to assert myself in a certain way, maybe make sure that I position myself as an authority so that they don't position themselves as authority over me. So it's always this juxtaposition of myself to say that so I assert myself in the way. God, that's so tiring. It's so tiring to say, well, this is going to happen, so I'm going to position myself in this way. Until I realize that I'm just in the same frequency, the same holodeck as this person. And the same thing happens that I've seen with in session with people that have had a relationship with a narcissist. And of course, a narcissist, first of all, that original term, that original definition is really expanded. It's like the term yoga. The original term of yoga was one particular thing, but now it means something huge. And it means all that stuff, And the same thing with kirtan. Kirtan has been changed to where it just means like a devotional chant. But kirtan in its original form was all the celebration and the food and the music and the singing and all that stuff together. So we tend to change these things to make them fit us. So narcissist is one of those words that, oh yeah, I've had a narcissist in my life. Oh yeah, that guy's a narcissist. But in reality, they just have narcissistic tendencies usually. Or maybe they're just insecure. It could be that too. So, but why did I attract a narcissist? What's wrong with me? Well, there's nothing wrong with you, and this isn't a punishment. It's just that someone that needs to know what their own boundaries are and what their voice is and what they need, and to express that need, they will attract a narcissist. Yeah, the narcissist is insecure, and yeah, the narcissist is an asshole and all those things. But why did I attract them? What energetically, why am I in the same room? And we're in the same room as a narcissist because the narcissist energy, which is this more controlling, gaslighting energy, is in the same room as someone that will allow that energetically, that doesn't know how to meet that in a way that makes them feel like they're heard. So I kind of think of the narcissist as they're doing the best thing that they can for me to know who I am, to finally speak my truth, to finally tell the world and this person what my needs are, and will not let anything go by until I am heard on this. And the narcissist is kind of the poker, keep on poking that until they finally stand up to that. before their life, before the meeting with the narcissist, they've just been kind of saying yes to everything, being a people pleaser. And here comes a narcissist. Wow. So here's the scene, that we're in this holodeck and everything is flavored with, let's say, fear and worry and blame and shame and betrayal and resentment and all those things. And that's the holodeck. And so if I have these insecurities about being betrayed, or this guy's a better looking guy than me, or he's taller than me, or he's better with women than I am, those are my insecurities. And then I'll attract things that are the opposite scale of that. And so those people will start to be attracted into this room with me, and we're playing this out, because there's fear and worry and jealousy and insecurities and all those things that we all have. So we're all in the same room together. So that it really helps me to understand that the way to work through this, the way to heal and integrate my own insecurities about authority figures or whatever the thing is to look at, why am I in that room? Why do I have a thing about that? And understand it as much as I can, and then allow people to be as they are. And then I kind of shift myself a little bit higher, or a little bit out of that frequency of that holodeck, into like a faded, like you'd imagine that holodeck room, that environment, that red being a little bit faded, not so bright. Maybe it shifts into a different color. Maybe it starts to shift into blue or into purple or something. So now, if you make it more physical, you can imagine us, all of us that were in the same frequency. Now we're all in the same balloon together, like a hot air balloon. And we're hovering, just staying in that frequency. And every time we get really dense in that frequency, we sink down. We sink down into the muck of that. And as we get a little bit more enlightened in ourself and awake in our consciousness, we start to elevate a little bit up, and maybe we'll kind of float back down like this. And then what's keeping us like anchored in that room is the sandbags of our limiting beliefs. So that's really what we're looking at. To get ourselves out of that room or out of that holodeck is look at the limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves and about the world. So my thing would be, gosh, okay, I have this sensitivity towards authority figures or people that my mind wants to say is trying to control me, or question what I do and have some problem with that. Do I have a problem with that? Do I have some insecurities about what I do and how I do it? And so I'll attract someone that questions me. So my limiting belief would be that I question myself, that I don't have the authority within me about that one particular thing. And if I really look deep into myself, that's kind of like the way, if I look at Daniel as a kind of a separate character, I look at Daniel and go, it's kind of how he rolls. That's kind of how he goes. That's how he's made himself to who he is. He's just gone forward and tried this and tried that. And he's not really concerned about having the right qualifications or certifications, because he knows somewhere inside himself, either in this life or some other life, he is fully qualified in his heart, in his consciousness. And so he, as a character, he doesn't take authority from like the 3D world, what the society says that you should have in your back pocket or in your portfolio. But he's done a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of good things in the world, and he learns as he goes. But to get a certification that no one would question, a PhD or whatever that is, he's not really into that. And so that's part of it. He's in the same room of, he will attract these authority figures that question his certification or his qualifications. And it's kind of like, if I if I look at everyone is here to love and support me, then those people are causing me to stand in my own authority, even though I don't have the paper or the certification or the qualification from some governing body. But it's all kind of wrapped up in the whole thing. We're all in the same room together. So what room are you in? What holodeck have you been in? What sensitivities do you have with other people? What other people do you judge? Do you judge people that are on the opposite scale as you? Maybe you're really peaceful. Maybe you're very peaceful and loving and timid and shy, and you hold that as something that makes you a better person because you're just very light, a light step on the planet. And then you look at other people that are really aggressive and assertive and, go, go, go. And they're very boisterous and loud. Well, you'd be in the same room as someone, you would attract those people because you don't allow yourself to be that way, or you have some kind of a judgment with that. So naturally, you'll attract those people. Maybe you two both have something in common. Maybe the person that's loud and boisterous and very aggressive, they're actually insecure, and they do this to put on this front that they're very, they're more secure than they really are. And so they put on this show of themselves. Well, maybe the common theme is insecurity, and you're both in the room, the holodeck of insecurity. And then right away, the thing that I want to go to when I understand this, like, oh man, isn't that crazy? I just kind of laugh at myself, or more specifically, laugh at my mind. Oh, look at that insecurity. Like, I play with this a lot, where if you were to look at yourself, if I were to look at myself from the outside of this world and look at Daniel, and it kind of might be like, oh, Daniel, you're so close. Oh, Daniel, there you go again. Okay, all right, let's do this. I imagine like my soul or some energetic body looking at Daniel's his life and look how he does things. They go, oh, there, yeah, okay. They might look at him and say, oh, well, he does it his way, and he kind of holds himself back with this sensitivity to this, and that detached, non-physical observer is just noticing he's right on the edge of this, but he kind of keeps himself over here, and it's all okay, because there's going to come a time when I'm going to look back at that and go, yep, oh, I totally see that. The more that I can do that now, the more I can have a more enlightened experience of knowing, what the character is doing, what the mind is doing, what the sensitivities are, what the theme is going on here. And then I can really understand from this observant kind of place of what's going on. But the first thing I need to do is stop defending my own mind. So once I stop defending my own mind as me, then we can get some work done. Then we can start to look at things, directly and honestly. But if I'm always in this defense of my own mind and my own perceptions and thoughts and beliefs, nothing ever gets worked through because I'm wrapped up into it. Once I release myself from it and say, yeah, there is some stuff going on, and I love it. There's something to work on. There's something to grow from. The mind doesn't think that way. The mind thinks we're all fine. Everybody else has just changed. But when I pull myself away from it, now I can kind of extract myself from that consciousness holodeck. And maybe there's a time when I don't need to go to the holodeck anymore. Maybe I pull myself out into actual reality. So the holodeck is kind of the place of distortion. It's a distortion of reality. So I play from holodeck to holodeck. Maybe dying is coming out of the holodecks into reality. Who knows? I'll let you know when I get there. Thank you so much. I love you. Bless you. Hope you have a wonderful day. See you.